Okay, so I hope all the students are familiar with this Bluetooth technology. Okay, you all are using and also familiar. Uh, as I know, you have the portion in your DC or CN one next semester completely in embedded system how Bluetooth work. That we are going to study in this our discussion part. So embedded system means mobile. In mobile, how it works. Purpose of Bluetooth is low cost communication protocol. Okay, it's a free of usage and all devices are providing this with inbuilt. That means if we purchase a mobile, Bluetooth is a default configuration, and also it takes a less power for data transmission as well as data receiving. Short range, you know that we cannot transmit it through Bluetooth between two cities or between 5 to 10 kilometer like that. So it's a short distance, like a 30 feet radius circle. Okay, so it was first proposed by Sony Ericsson company in 1994. Okay, and what is the operating speed or operating frequency is 2.4 gigahertz. Okay, and it uses a frequency hopping spread spectrum. So here frequency, I hope you know frequency domain multiple access, code division multiple access, frequency division multiple access, like that. Hopping is a different. So hopping means which frequency is more. Actually meaning of hopping is jumping. Who will jump very height? Okay, so that he is a winner. That is what competition of hopping. So Bluetooth will also transfer which signal has highest hop, highest jump or highest amplitude. So which has a highest amplitude with the frequency, using that it will get a transmitter. Okay, that's what idea. So this actual technical explanation you are going to study in your DC subject. Next comes what is the data rate up to. Okay, if we connect through the Bluetooth, we can send per second 1 MB, 1 megabytes. Okay, and the physical distance of two devices, it should be 30 feet. If the two devices which are connected over Bluetooth, if they are 30 feet distance from each other, we can send the data. And this last point is important. Bluetooth is not automatic. Bluetooth is human interface device. That means to start a Bluetooth, to stop a Bluetooth operation, to send a data via Bluetooth communication protocol, there should be one human as a user. Then only the Bluetooth will work. Okay, so two to 3 points of technical explanation is it's a physical link layer. I hope you know TCP/IP protocol in your DC. 7 application layers are there, like a physical data link, network, transportation, application, session, etc. Like this, it is related to physical layer. Physical layer. Okay, so then there will be a protocol part and a connection part. So what physical part will do? Physical link part is responsible for transmission of a data, whereas the protocol part is responsible for rules. Okay, the what might be the rules here? The rules might be how much to transmit, that means how much to send per second, how much to receive per second. That is the first type of rule. Second type of rule, among four Bluetooth device interconnected, let's say four devices are connected in the Bluetooth network. I hope you know the name of Bluetooth network as Piconet. Okay, so the name of Bluetooth network is Piconet. In the Piconet, if there are four devices and only one device, A, B, C, D, let's assume A wants to send it to C, that time, okay, here the data should be from A towards C. Okay, who has to respond? I mean, who has to take care about this sender and receiver exactness is done by the protocol part. Okay, so Bluetooth also transmits the data in terms of packet. It will send source address, destination address to the data packet, and it will send. So whoever is the destination, like C, it will respond. Whereas A and D and B will not respond because they are not a real receivers. Okay, that's why it is a secured type. And third point is it's a wireless. I hope you can easily analyze this, because it's not of we are not going to use any real wire for transmission of data over Bluetooth. Okay, and it's a, as I mentioned, Bluetooth wireless will uses radio signals. Okay, radio signals means You can see here frequency division, multiple access is there, no? So always frequency division means which has the highest frequency, that will be used. In the same way, radio signals will be transmitting. The Bluetooth will also uses the existing radio signals, and it will go through that existing radio signal and from source to the destination. Okay, so some other points like diagram, logo, that I have removed from the discussion. Okay, so coming for the next communication protocol, that is off board or external communication protocol is Wi-Fi. I hope all the students are using Wi-Fi in mobile devices, or they are settled. I mean, they have fixed a Wi-Fi device in the home through which they are accessing to the laptop, to mobile, etc. Okay, or between two mobiles also it is possible. So, what is the full form of Wi-Fi? Wireless fidelity. I repeat, wireless fidelity is a full name of Wi-Fi. Okay, and it was according to IEEE 802.11 standard. So this is just reference. What do you mean by IEEE 802.11? You are going to study in your communication related subject. Okay, here just we will remember that. Okay, to perform a Wi-Fi, we need internet protocol, IP. Okay, I hope you know that in mobile, automatically the mobile will do the IP configuration. But if it is in a computer or a laptop, we need to do proxy IP setting or the real IP setting. Once we do the IP setting, then we will get a we will have connection with Wi-Fi router. Okay, so if you try in once in a college, I hope you will come to know directly about the concept of IP. Okay, so what happens in a Wi-Fi? Let me show the diagram. It's a multi-point communication. I will show the diagram. Hope you will understand this. See, there will be one Wi-Fi router who will give information particularly for particular device. Here we have took some of the three devices as an example. Three different type of mobiles are connected to the Wi-Fi. Okay, as it's a wireless. Okay, you can see this is a router. Router means who provides a route, who will give a route. Let's say this like this. Okay, so here I will assume. So through Google server, these all the users are connected. One person want to download music file. Okay, let me write a short form, MP3 file. One more person want to download some image, nature image, and the fourth person wants to download a PDF file. Sorry, third person. So he wants to do MP3 file download. He wants to download a JPEG, and he wants to download some PDF file. Okay, see now all the devices, all the data, three data will come to serve this router at a time. So what is the work of router? He has to route the first information. First information is what? Let's say JPEG, because it's a smaller than MP3 and let's say PDF, which is a text, so it will be faster. So it will route. PDF should go in this direction. Immediately JPEG will go in this direction. Finally, MP3 file will go in this direction. So this is done by router. So that's why the packets, every packet, where to collect from, where to send to, that routing is done by router. Hence, it is called as the word router. So here, the main work of router is here to give the information for each packets. Okay, whether it should go for device, connected device 1, 2, 3, or any of the device. Okay, why it is called a multi-point is it's there is nothing called one router and only one connecting device. One router can serve up to n number of devices, which are end devices. Okay, since it's IP based, every device is identified by unique number called as IP, Internet Protocol. Okay, the identification number will be there, and that will be unique to each device. So if it is a unique, so it will be very easy for router to forward a data for a particular node present in the or joined to the Wi-Fi network. Okay, so who is responsible for forwarding a data? As I mentioned, Wi-Fi router is responsible for managing all the works. Okay, so also it will restrict some access. So that means what? In our college, let's say the students are not allowed to download video files. So that means what? If it is if the person is registered as a student, he should not download the video type of files or some images like that. So using that IP, we can make a restriction. If a particular IP is given for a student, then that for IP, for that IP restrictions also we can impose. Okay, that makes Wi-Fi more effective. Okay, so what else we can do, like a mail, through mail. Okay, we can transmit a data, we can also receive the data. Okay, there will be an antenna. I hope you can see these two are the antenna. Using this, they will send as well as receive the data. Okay, some of the other technical explanations are like Wi-Fi operates in 2.4 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz. Okay, it's not a data rate, it's a frequency. Okay, data will be in terms of bits Mbps, okay, Mbps or Gbps, etc. Okay, so it has own Wi-Fi radio also. It will have its own Wi-Fi radio also. Why it is called a radio is, see, main center is connected to, connected with the sub or end node, hence we call general word as a radio. Okay, that is one type of communication protocol. Next one is, I hope you can get a question on this because it's important, Zigbee protocol. Okay, it's the last one, Zigbee. Again, it's also for a low power, low cost and wireless protocol. Low power, low cost and wireless protocol. It's a secure applications compared to the earlier Wi-Fi. Zigbee protocol is more secure nowadays. Enhancement in the Wi-Fi is making us security. Still, Zigbee is also the secured method of communication or data transfer. So one important thing is robustness, very important. So something like, see, presently we are transmitting using a Wi-Fi, we are sending a data to 100 students, or they are working on some project. Suddenly Wi-Fi gets some halt or some problem. So suddenly what happens, Wi-Fi need to be rebooted. Okay, rebooted. So it may take a lot of time. So whereas in a Zigbee, same students, same project work, instead of Wi-Fi, if we connect them using Zigbee and the same type of problem comes, robustness means the recovery from the state of a fault is very fast. Hence, we can expect Zigbee becomes more robust. Okay, so here, not only if it is a multipath, connection in the Zigbee network, there can be n number of paths multi-point connected. If the Zigbee is multi-point connection, to send a message from one node to another node, there is nothing called restricted path. It can use any of the path. Which path is free and effective, that path it can go through or travel through. You can just imagine here, like okay, here I will show like this, main Zigbee coordinator. There are some routers and some end. I will show the diagram. So A wants to send it to C. Okay, like this, there are many paths. Okay, so here generally what happens, A with the C. So this is a normal approach. Okay, if this is busy, it will find its own a different approach. So it may find like this also. See, you can see this way. Okay, so it depends upon present availability. It will decide whichever path is applicable or suitable. That through that path it will travel send the data. Okay, and what is the operating frequency? Again, it is the same like 2.4 to 2.484. Okay, it operates in a different megahertz range also. Okay, so fine. Okay, now coming for the next is, what is the distance compared to the Bluetooth? We can expect more speed, more area. That means 100 meters, and up to 100 meters it can send 20 to 250 kbps. Actually, it's a old updation. Nowadays we have Wi-Fi up to 10 Mbps, 50 Mbps also trying to achieve with the in the colleges or in the banking sector, etc. Okay, right? Okay, so how the Zigbee is made up of? Let me show the diagram here first. Zigbee will be like this. Zigbee end devices. ZED means end devices. Okay, ZR means Zigbee routers. Zigbee routers. ZC means coordinator. Always remember, coordinator has highest authority. He will collect the data. Okay, let me show the diagram with the diagram. He will collect the data from another Zigbee coordinator, or any type of router. Okay, So what he will do, he will give it to local routers who are called as Zigbee routers. Okay, so Zigbee routers will give it to appropriate Zigbee end device. I hope it is clear now. So if this end device A wants to send it to this end device B, what is the order? So A end device should give the message forwarded to router. Router will give it to coordinator, and coordinator will forward it to another end Zigbee device. Hope it is clear now how it works. Zigbee network, always controller or the coordinator is responsible for all kind of operations here. You can see now Zigbee coordinator, it acts as a routing person or who will perform routing activity. So router is there who will perform routing among connected to itself. You can see now. See if this A wants to send data to this B, does it take a help of coordinator? Yes. How it works, you see. So it will take a message from router. Router will send it to coordinator. Coordinator will send back to router and again back to the another end device. Okay, always ZR. So what ZR should give the report to ZC is for which all end devices this can route. What ZC will have how many ZR ZC will manage. See here you can see one ZC, let me call it as a Roman 1. Roman 1 ZC is coordinating for two routers, router 1 and router 2. Router 1 is giving service for A device, B device, C device. Whereas E and F, they are controlled by main coordinator. Let's say H device is there, that is a ZED. Okay, his name is H. Now A to H, how to transmit? A will give a data to ZR1 router. Router 1 will forward to ZC, and ZR1 will also tell that I don't have the number of H. So ZC will take care. ZC will collect the data from ZR1 and forward it to, it will identify who is taking care about a H. That's a ZR2. So at ZC, coordinator 1 will forward it to router 2. So router 2 will again forward it to end device H. Okay, I hope it is clear with the Zigbee protocol. Okay, so all these things will take place with in the control of main coordinator. Okay, so next point, GPRS. It's an old type of data transmission. I think this concept was there when we had button mobiles. Okay, so I hope some people might be knowing this. Keypad mobiles. So that was a very less transmission of data. You can see here 171 kbps. That is a maximum. That too theoretical. Practically little lesser. Okay, and it was a very basic method of data transmission that was using existing radio signals. Okay, existing radio signals, attach some data and transmit. So whoever is a receiving side ready to receive, they used to receive and response. Okay, that was a small point with respect to GPRS, and GPRS compulsorily for mobile devices, not for a computer. Okay. Okay, so next we have the last point of this chapter. Let me show you here the contents. Core of the embedded system. We have studied memory. We have studied sensors and actuators, communication interface, and I'm taking other embedded system components. I will try to finish this embedded firmware last because we have some more diagrams in this other system components. This is very, very small. So I will shift this to the last, and I'm taking right now other system components. Okay, so we have studied a lot of subheadings in this communication interface. Please go through with this again and again. Okay, so let's go for the part other component systems. Okay, so what do you mean by other component system? Apart from sensors, actuators, processor, then what communication interfaces, what we have in our mobile, leave about input output. So we have something special called reset button. we have brownout protection circuit, we have watchdog timer. So these all we have in our embedded system right now. So let's study those points. So what do you mean by reset circuit? If you have we have used a reset button in our mobile, so that is itself a reset circuit. Okay, so what do you mean by reset? It is reconfiguring our mobile or embedded system to first point. Okay, now the condition when reset is good, reset when we should call something as a reset is already mobile should be given with the voltage. If mobile is off right now, switch off. Can we perform reset? That is not possible. Okay, so we can perform reset only when mobile is presently active but not responding for my expectation. Even though it is responding, even though it is good, I can go with the reset. But most of the time what happens, if it is good, we will not go with the reset. I'm trying to work on some software. Suddenly software got stuck. Okay, I will wait for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Then operating system will give me something like this. Wait for the app response or close. Okay, so I'm pressing something, still that is also not responding properly. So what is the option I have? I will go for reboot or reset. So right now there is a voltage in the mobile. Still we are using a reset option. Still we are using a reset option because I don't want to use at present situation. I want to start from the beginning. If it is start from the beginning, it is called as 000 vector address. It is called as 00 vector address. That means, okay, you are listening a song. Very simple question. You are listening a song and you will reset. Okay, you will reset. Will you get a home page of the mobile screen, or we will get the song where we stopped previously? So generally we will get it from where from the beginning point of the function. Okay, that's what the reset work is. Okay, it can be either active high or active low signal. Okay, so what is the difference between active and active low, that I will explain. Okay, and there will be a clock which will monitoring reset. If I give a reset button and a reset operation take for 1 hour, it will be wrong. So with respect to time, within 5 seconds, within 10 seconds, the system should get reset. Okay, so as I mentioned, it's a power on reset, and it's a external passive. That means what? I have two options. One, I can go in, in my laptop, I'm telling. If the screen is visible for you, I can show you here. Okay, see this case here. I have, if I go with this, you can see the restart. Okay, this is through software. What we have in our hardware, we will click in our mobile, what we do is we will click that button which is outside. Okay, we'll press long. So suddenly what we'll get, power off, reset, etc. So we have those two options. But the activity is either activity may start from command or it may start from button pressing, but internally it is a software program. Okay, that's what the idea of reset circuit. Okay, it uses a CMOS and TTL logic. Okay, so it built-in command also there, and sometimes external reset also we can give. So in computer, if you shut down properly, it is an internal reset. But if you shut down using a hardware button on the CPU cabinet, it is called as external reset. Okay, so these are the two circuits which we refer it as reset circuit. If this is active high, why it is active high is before voltage drop, we are giving external, reset pulse. Okay, so this is active low because VCC travels through this resistor, and there is a voltage drop. If the voltage drop is there, voltage has reduced. That means called as low. Okay, so that means what happens? You will press something here using a push button. You will press it. Voltage will flow through this resistor. Voltage reduced, and pulse is generated here. That is called as reset pulse. That means system will start resetting. So that is here takes place. Reset will takes place, right? Hope it is clear now for the reset. So first pulse is generated, then voltage is reduced. That is called as active high reset signal. Okay. So one more external signal we have is brownout protection. Generally, we have not gone through with this case in our mobile. Okay. I hope we might have heard somewhere that due to overcharging, the mobile got blasted. When he was speaking, I mean, person was speaking, it got blasted. Okay, something we have heard. So that's a failure of brownout protection actually. Okay, that's a failure. So what is brownout protection is when something happens beyond the threshold, the automatically circuit should get break. Then other side it will be safe. Say for example, our domestic fuse. Okay, here I have mentioned the word fuse. So what is the purpose of fuse? It's a thin metal line or a wire. So it is connected to the street light, which has the highest voltage. Domestic inside a home, we have some of the electronic equipments like TV, fridge, etc. Suddenly, some big electric wave, I mean big in the sense high voltage electric wave, if it try to enter the home, fuse will be a small line, okay, which will burn itself and stops traveling of that electric wave inside the home. Okay, that is called as brownout protection. So what happens if the brownout protection fails is that electric signal from a street line will enter the home. It will affect our domestic equipments like a fridge, TV, etc. So in the same way, even in our mobile also we have brownout protection. Okay, due to I think you might have seen when it is a thundering or storming, we should not use a mobile outside. So what happens? Through data we may get that electric signal and it may affect our device also. So to avoid such a situation, we have a brownout protection circuit. So how the brownout protection circuit is like this. Okay, the VCC will be there, high VCC. We are using this transistor. Okay, so this is how. So this diode, Zener diode, is responsible. If the voltage what comes from this highest VCC or this resistor is acceptable range, then it transmit through this base and we will see the, I mean, sorry, if the high voltage, the voltage is very high and Zener diode breaks, this breaks and it will give us a reset. If the voltage is not measured properly, then what happens? Then it will enters through this device and it will affect our embedded system. Okay, so in the same way, brownout protection, what is it is used to reset the state. Suddenly what it will do is it will break itself and it will make the device reset. Okay, so what is sometimes the this brownout protection is built in. So generally it is a built in. Even for a safety side, we can also use extra. Okay, and it is called as a passive circuit. Why it is called as a passive circuit is it will not be working all the time, but when there is a sudden wave comes of more electricity or something, suddenly it will breaks on its own and try to protect our embedded system. Okay, that is what second type of extra component. Here you can see other system, other subsystem. Okay, first subsystem is reset, second subsystem is brownout protection. So what about third protection? I hope you know this word, oscillator. So you have executed two experiments, one experiment, relaxation oscillator experiment. So the work of relaxation oscillator is to generate from sine wave or charging discharging to square wave. So that means what? The oscillator always generates clock signals or a digital signals. So what is importance of digital signal? Digital signals are helpful for stop of the activity, start of the activity, change in the state. Very simple example always we used to give for a clock. So bell in the college at 8:30 a.m. indicates the start of the classes. Bell in the 3:30 p.m. indicates stop of the classes on that day. So any other bell between 8:30 to 9:30 is called a change of the subject. Correct? In the same way, to generate that clock, we should have something reference. That clock signal generator is called as oscillator circuit. Okay, so there are some built-in oscillator circuits, there are some external oscillator circuits. I will try to show this. Okay, these are the signals, components which we use to generate oscillator, clock signals. So you can see here, oscillator unit, it will take a charging, using charging discharging method, it will give us a digital clock. Always output of this one, even microprocessor will also try to give clock input to the oscillator, and oscillator will generate digital signals. Always you remember oscillator means, I hope you know the one PUC experiment. using a cork a fork, I guess. It was like this shape. Okay, like this. He used to hit this and it used to generate a signal. Okay, it was a PUC experiment. I don't remember this exactly. Anyway, so that will give us this type of signals, continuous signals. To convert this to this square wave, we should have oscillator, which continuously oscillates and give us a signal. Through that signal, we have to use, I mean, we have to perform some of the, I think it is a tuning fork, right? So the work is, experiment is called as tuning fork. Okay, right? So these are the some oscillators. There are some internal oscillators and external oscillators. So you might have heard crystal, quartz crystal. That's a device which we are, I mean, component which we are using for generating the digital clock signals. Even still we are using ceramic resonators also. Okay, and they will produce continuously, they will be continuously oscillating and giving us the digital signals. Okay, so the last one or two points about the other subsystem are real-time clock. Let me show you the diagram. Have you seen this in your computer or in your digital watch, etc.? Okay, this is one. If you open up a CPU or a laptop, you can see some coin-shaped cell, lithium cell. Okay, lithium cell. What it will be doing is, even though our computer is off, laptop is off, this circuit will be off. Sorry, this circuit will be on. Using this, we will it will be keep on counting the time. So say for example, I have turned off computer now. So after 2 days, I will turn on. Actually, computer is off. That means in the this system time should not get updated. See, this is showing me the updated time, but who is doing this updation of a time is this real time clock, which is in this. Okay, always you remember, this is a cell. When I turn on my computer, this will get charging. When I turn off computer, this will get discharged, but ultimately it will be active always. It will be always active. Because of this always active, the system time keeps counting. So even after 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, if I start my computer, it is not going to set for old time. Instead, it will be always updated time. Okay, you will use a computer, you will turn off a computer. If you turn it on after some days, if it is showing old data or old data and time, okay, what we have the option is, we have to go for changing this CMOS cell. If we change this cell, definitely we will get a updated time. Okay, real-time clock purpose is what? Always to keep the track of a time. Okay, always we have to keep a track of the time. This will work even in absence of a power. As I said, if even if I turn off my laptop, after 2 to 3 days, if I turn on, then also I will get updated time. As I said, it is made up of integrated circuits. Okay, it is made up of integrated circuit. It consists of a microchip for holding always time and date. Okay, so how it works is, there will be a count up method. So keep on counting. So as usual, normal clock circuit will be there, which will be continuously working. The same circuit is not available in our domestic wall clock. There, if the cell gets drained out, so we need to replace the cell and adjust the clock for the new value. Okay, so that is what idea of the RTC. Okay, what happens if you don't have the RTC circuit properly working? Means, I hope you, if you try to set your mobile date and time, okay, not automatically, manually. If you try to set it to old data, you cannot connect to the internet. So internet service provider will tell the system date and time is not proper. So if you readjust, then only you will get a services. That means if RTC is not working, we cannot have the online services like connecting to the Google or some financial transactions, etc. They should be updated. That means synchronized. To perform that synchronization, we should have RTC circuit properly working in the system. Okay, so one more thing is, what happens if we don't have, okay, sorry, this RTC is connected to interrupt line. So why it is interrupt line is, see, if we don't have on correct date and time setting, it will give us a warning here, something like this: old date and time, please adjust. Okay, that is connected to interrupt. If I neglect it, So after some time, whenever I try to open up a Google Chrome and go for Google, I will get the warning that the system time is not correct. That time, what is the option I have? The option I have is I have neglected the interrupt, but I have to work on that interrupt. Then I can get the service from the Google. So that is possible only when we have RTC correct. That is real time clock. Okay, so one more the subsystem we have is watchdog timer. So as the word indicates, it will keep on watching like a dog. Okay, so how much time each activity has took. Okay, I hope you know Alt Control Delete Task Manager in Windows computers. So it will tell us that how much time each activity has took, what is the present state, at what time it has started, okay, what is expected time to finish, whether it will finish or not. So it's one hardware timer which continuously monitoring what activity, which activity, how much time they are already started, they are about to finish, whether they are able to finish on time or not. Like that, that is a watchdog timer. Okay, it can be either incremental approach or decremental approach. Okay, either plus plus method or minus minus method. Okay, so if it is a decremental approach, definitely it will try to write 0 when counting is reached, and it will try to write highest value if it is an incremental approach. Okay, and watchdog timer always generates an alarm. Okay, so what is the alarm? Alarm may be a sound, alarm may be a dialog box on the screen that the process is not possible to finish on time. So either you go for reset or restart, etc. Something like that it will give. So whenever you try to send a big file over the WhatsApp or some social media, you might have felt the time is exceeding, or the process can't possible to finish in the given amount of a time. Who will decide that time, and who will observe how much time extra is taking, how much on time it is working? That is done by watchdog timer. Okay, so you can see here expiration of a watchdog time always give us a reset operation. Okay, so this is what idea of, I mean, circuit of a watchdog timer. Some works will be taking place here. Outside there is a watchdog timer who will continuously observing this. Once that time limit reaches, it will give a reset pulse so that a microprocessor or a controller will restart its activity. Okay, so that's what end of chapter 2 and module 3, leaving just one small concept, that's embedded firmware. Okay, tomorrow I will try to cover that. So that finishes our module 3. Okay, please, I will try to forward the notes related to this module by today or tomorrow. Okay, you can refer and start writing the assignment also. Less than a minute is remaining, you can start giving your attendance and leave the session.